Buzzes. Let's go. I'm so excited. I'm so my
They're
hands
really
are
pushing this collaboration with him, aren't they?
Yeah, well, so
But when I recall, I see it true.
what's with all the hands?
I was gonna say there's a lot of hand gestures in this, and
Is this to
On a
you?
night of wintry fog,
I'm,
it's come back full circle.
Like the Elden Ring.
Oh my god!
all right, I've heard rumors. I'm not gonna say. All right. This looks sick. The fuck?
Huh.
Oof.
Ooh.
and the demigods began to fall.
Demigods,
Started
eh?
with Godwyn the Golden.
Yeah, I'd heard that too.
Oh. Ew.
Oh. Oh, I don't like things through the eyes.
Oh, that's grim.
Queen Marika was driven to the brink.
Oh.
This looks so cool.
Yeah,
my
I don't
gosh.
like eye things.
No, I don't either. That is grim.
Oh, that's a big hand.
Yep.
The shattering ensued, a war that wrought only
It's a
darkness.
big crown.
It's a
The
fucking
Elden
huge
Ring
crowd.
was broken. But by whom?
Oh, was the Elden Ring a council?
Oh.
Oh. Oh, like the Fellowship of the Ring.
This
Yeah.
is Lord of the Rings.
Oh my god, it literally is Lord of the Rings.
What?
Oh my god. Holy shit.
Wait for the Balrog to like turn up.
I mean, look, they've got the big cave trolls. Oh my god.
This is the Battle of Helm's Deep.
Yeah.
Oh, if they have an elephant, I'm.
What could the demigods ever hope to win by warring?
Yeah. So see, I thought they were kind of linked.
Yeah, I think they are.
Okay, that guy's a beast.
What the
The conqueror
Oh
of
yes.
General Radahn.
bro? The purple sparks?
Oh yes.
Sign me
I get some
up.
Zod vibes there.
Whoa, is that a dick?
And the blade of Mikkel and Melania
Wait.
the Seventh.
Oh, so they're
Oh.
on the
Isn't
same
his
side.
junk just hanging out?
I'm not sure. Might have to go back onto that.
I hope that's not what that is.
Oof.
Oh, the arm. Bro, she seems so badass.
Yeah.
But there would be no victor.
Okay, that's cool.
Ooh.
Tokyo Ghoul? What the fuck?
Oh
Fucking
my god.
nine-tailed
Oh
fox.
man,
Naruto
this is
shit
so
going on here?
sick. This is
And
beautiful.
so
That was
we
amazing.
inhabit a fractured world,
I'm moist.
awaiting the arrival of the
Oh.
Elden Ring.
Please.
Who is this?
I want that hat or hood.
Oh,
Looks like a hat.
Is it the doll? She
Thou
kind of looks
shouldst
like the
take
doll.
crown.
oh,
Firekeeper?
Why
she could
the-
be like the Firekeeper equivalent. Yeah. Like the doll from like Bloodborne and stuff.
Why is it
I
all looking
have
so good?
So many questions. This is so
Oh.
sick.
Oh, that
Oh
looks
my God.
amazing.
Yeah, so let's just up front, they are heavily pushing the George R. R. Martin thing, right? Because 2 years ago, I think it was still before the end of, I think this was announced before the end of Game of Thrones. So he was still hot at the time. People
Yeah.
didn't
Mhm.
hate him yet. This
This scene
looks
reminds
so
me of Lord of
sick.
the Rings. Straight
Yeah.
up.
Yeah,
Like,
Wraiths.
is it the Nazgul? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of this is very reminiscent of Lord of the Rings. I think we've established this at this point. Is that like this game is like
Yeah, there's a lot of definite, like, there's a lot to look at. You're just like, oh yeah, okay.
this
This is messed up.
interesting. This is creepy shit, but
Oh.
interestingly intriguing instantly. Like that thing of like all the thing. Is there like some kind of flipping virus or something? Like, is he gonna get up and be like all evil and shit?
So in the Dark Souls games, right, it's all about basically like the abyss and the dark and how it warps
Yeah.
people and stuff. And you don't get to see a lot of those transformations, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of just like Aldrich of the Deep, you hear his story, and then like his story's fucking, if there's a boss video that's worth checking out that shouldn't spoil you on anything, the Aldrich one. It talks about how he was like, he was a man at one time, and then he would eat other men to get more power. Like, it was crazy.
Oh,
But they don't show these transformations happening.
No.
I wonder if we're going to get to see that in this. Like, are we going to experience the world as it's falling apart instead of after it's already fallen?
Yeah. Yeah.
Guys, can you imagine
that would
multiplayer
be-
on the scale of that? Because that would be impressive.
Yeah, that would
No.
be phenomenal.
I mean, at that point, you just go play like Chivalry, right? Isn't that kind of what that game is?
Yeah,
but like
having...
this, like
Wait, I don't think
like
his junk is
watching the
handed
world
out.
fall apart, though. I think this is so. This guy.
Oh, he's on a horse.
No, I think it's just. Oh, by the way, I just think
He's on a very small horse.
Wait, what?
What?
He's on a horse.
Oh, he is!
Holy
He's literally
shit.
on a fucking horse.
He's just has a horse for a codpiece. What? What? What am I looking at?
What is that design?
That brings
Why
all
would
new
you
meaning to
have
horsecock.
that?
Oh my
my
God.
Why would
The
you
horse is
have that?
hanging, like from his undercarriage. The horse's feet aren't touching the ground. It's just like dog paddling. He's like, I guess I'm here. I'm doing a horse thing.
That was the
This is how
world's
it's supposed to
strongest
work.
horse.
Poor
That horse is not doing anything. That dude is totally just walking.
I don't think the horse is alive.
Okay, that just makes it
You
horrible.
might be right.
Yeah, like that.
That
horse
could just
does
be a
not look
dead horse
alive.
hanging from his undercarriage. That's
Jeez, what a
pretty Dark
monster.
Souls.
Yeah, but the thing is, so when you're saying of like us like seeing the world fall apart, and that's part of the game that we're experiencing, then to me that would suggest that this whole storytelling thing of having like way more like interaction with NPCs and them telling more of a story. Well, like for example, if the world's falling apart, you're gonna have, so for example, like that looked like an invasion of a castle, for example, like a big war and there's
Right,
a castle behind it.
Yeah.
So like, would you actually have like the king of that area there and guards there, and you'd have like, you'd be walking around, you'd actually see like more NPC characters than we've ever seen in the previous
That's a
games, because
thought.
usually it's just like
That's a thought.
survivors in certain areas that are very spread out and you find them, whereas like is this game actually going to have more?
I don't think it's gonna have more.
characters.
I think it's gonna be on the back end of the world falling apart, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like basically like the final hours type deal.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're gonna be seeing things from like just the end on, right? Like,
Right.
you know, the king, it might be the king, but it might be the broken king, right? And he's sitting on
Yeah.
the stairs in front of his throne, and he's the only person left in his throne room. Like the battle has already passed and everything's broken and shattered, but it's like only passed by maybe hours, days, maybe.
Yeah.
Whereas like a lot of the Dark Souls games, it's like, well, this has been a slow burn over hundreds of years.
Yeah.
So this might be this precipice moment that we get to see, right? Which would be sick. I think that would be really neat to experience.
There is
Even if it's not related to
also-
Dark Souls at all. Yeah, I mean, poor horse.
Yeah, there is this part of me though that kind of is thinking like, how cool would it actually be to have this whole like you are literally almost like the game starts and you're in a war. Like you are literally fighting on a giant fucking battlefield.
Like it picks up on this battlefield.
Yeah,
Like,
That'd
you're,
be pretty
on the
cool.
battlefield, you've got to like fight enemies. This is like how you essentially learn the game mechanics. You have like a big boss in the middle of it that you then have to like fight, surrounded by like this cinematic view of all these people fighting in the background and stuff. And
that'd be
like
cool.
that would just
That would
be like
be
an insane
that's very
start to a game.
that's very Sekiro, right?
That
They
would
they
be
did kind of
sick.
something similar to that in Sekiro at one point.
Yeah.
With a horse boss, but his horse fit him at least. You know. So there's that.
Oh,
Look, you don't even see the horse here.
I forgot his name. The one that shouts his name though.
Yeah, he's like pretty early on, so I don't feel bad about being like, yeah, there's a boss on a horse.
No, I've seen it. I've seen it. Yeah. I've seen it. I can't remember what his name is, but he always yells his name.
That kind of takes place like in a battlefield, like, but the battlefield's been kind of recently cleared, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you're talking about like having like Ring of Fire as the battle rages on.
Yeah, like I'm talking about like you start the game and you are like either in the fight or you enter the fight and you are like fighting like enemies left to right and all this kind of stuff. And the like ending of like the beginning bit is like the end of that fight almost. And then you like go and see the king and like you've like either like you lose and you have to escape and then there's a skip or like just something like that where it's like I don't know, you just see more of this whole aspect of like it falling apart, you know, instead of like the aftermath of it and then like having to like deal with what's going to happen afterwards. Like, I don't know, I just think if they're going to do an open world game, let's have a bit more of something like that. Let's have a bit more of the NPCs. Let's have a bit more of the story kind of actually told instead of having to find it, because this isn't a Dark Souls game. This is Elden Ring, which is an entirely new game by, like,
so I think
George
there
R. R.
is.
Martin.
Yeah, it could go that way, right? Because absolutely right. It's it's not Dark Souls. I think a lot of people have the expectation it's going to be very similar though to Dark Souls, or just because they have done spin-off games, right? Like Bloodborne is not a Dark Souls game, but if you play that, you're gonna be like, "This is Dark Souls." You're like, everyone knows what you mean. Sekiro is probably the furthest departure from these games, right? At least recently, but that's because that wasn't even meant to be anything close to like Souls. It was supposed to be Tenchu, which is like an old PlayStation series.
Yeah.
That's what it was like originally meant to be. So I think they kind of made the like swerve last minute to adjust some of it to be more like, all right, well, it's not gonna be Tenchu, so let's add Souls. Splash a little Souls on your face, and hey, it's still a good game. It doesn't have the build variety or anything, but it has all the items and stuff that Tenchu is known for.
Yeah.
I am kind of curious though as to whether or not people's expectation of this being like Dark Souls is gonna affect. Like, I think this game is gonna sell
Affect
well,
reception.
but I think the actual reception of the game, it makes me curious as to whether or not it's actually gonna like be received well as a game.
Well, we could answer that question right now by just going and looking at gameplay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see gameplay.
Before we move on, I want to talk about this girl. This design is so sick.
Oh yeah.
Because like
amazing.
one, I'm gonna skip back to the front. I made sure 311. Okay. Not because it's hands, but let's point out that all right, so there's two sets of hands here, right?
Yep.
We saw that guy in the first story teaser that had the shit ton of hands, like all around him.
He was very handsy, very hands-on.
Okay, well, first of all, can we just mention, if we're going to go into the whole ring thing, she's wearing a ring.
Is she?
Yeah, one of those hands is wearing a ring.
Well spotted. Right? Holy fuck.
Okay.
Is she a member of this council? Do they all have rings?
Do they all have rings of power, like in Lord of?
Do they all have rings of power?
Like,
she's the one storytelling this story. Like, are there any other rings in this trailer? Like, let's have a quick look and see if any of the other characters that we see.
So she's Gadriel or Gladriel.
Is this Lord of the Rings?
Well, this is one. There's the ring. Yeah, because it's panning.
We pan up right more, but did you notice this over here? The person,
these sort of astral projection.
Spirit?
Oh yeah.
I wish I could get rid of these annotations.
I know.
Where are they? So
you can't.
You used to be able to. This is
you can't
trash. Now. I want to like. So she's got the broken porcelain thing or like pottery thing, like the.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's like a ghost sort of like inhabiting the sort of doll.
Well, that's the other thing, right? Is that like there is directly something you can compare this. And that's the doll from Bloodborne.
Yes.
Which makes you wonder, like, do you think they might try to tie Bloodborne into this in some real stupid, obscure way?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
Like that'd be cool.
But also, a comparison we can already make.
Go ahead.
Is in the teaser, that guy that was making the ring, he was all cracked and breaking.
Oh, yeah, good point.
So, is this something to do with the actual ring and its power itself and the effect on the body? Is there multiple of these rings and these like council wear these rings and like
each of them has been like affected differently, but in a similar cracking way,